People say one moment can change everything, but I never believed it until the night a woman walked into my store at closing time, trembling, exhausted, and carrying a secret heavy enough to break anyone. And somehow, that night ended up saving my life too. I remember that evening perfectly. The sky outside the grocery store had turned a soft orange, and the parking lot was already emptying. It was closing time, my favorite part of the shift because it meant silence after hours of non-stop customers. I had just locked one side of the sliding doors and picked up the broom to sweep the last aisle when I heard a firm knock on the glass. I looked up, annoyed at first. Everyone knew we closed at 10 p.m. But the moment I saw her through the glass panel, my annoyance faded into something else entirely. A young woman stood there, clutching 2 torn grocery bags against her chest. Her clothes were wrinkled, her hair messy like she had been fighting the whole day, and her eyes were red like she had been crying for hours before she arrived. Something inside me told me to unlock the door. I couldn't explain why. Maybe it was the way she stood, half desperate, half apologetic. Maybe it was the way she kept looking down as if she was afraid to be seen. I pushed the door open just enough for her to slip in. "We are closed," I said automatically, but she didn't move. She just held her breath, then whispered, "I know. I am sorry. I really need something. Please." Those words, "Please, I really need something," they hit differently. I stepped aside and let her in. She walked slowly, almost dragging her feet, as if the weight on her shoulders was heavier than the groceries she carried. I didn't want to hover, but I couldn't look away either. She moved toward aisle 3, the one with medicine and baby products. That's when I noticed the second heavy detail. She wasn't shopping for herself. She picked up baby formula first, then fever medicine, then wet wipes, and a small pack of diapers. Every item she grabbed was chosen carefully, painfully, like she was calculating the price down to her last coin. She didn't even use a basket. She just hugged everything to her chest, trying to keep her hands from shaking. When she reached the counter, she avoided eye contact, placed the items carefully, and reached into her pocket, then froze. Her fear appeared instantly. She checked her other pocket, then her bag, then both pockets again. She swallowed hard. "No, no, 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 please. Not now," she whispered to herself. I already knew what had happened. Her money was gone. Lost. Stolen. Left behind. Something inside her broke right there in front of me. She clenched her fists, looked up at the ceiling as if fighting tears, then whispered, "I'm sorry. I can't pay for this. My baby is sick. I'll return them." She reached for the items, but I stopped her hand gently. "It's okay," I said. "Take it." She looked at me like she didn't understand the language I was speaking. No, I didn't mean. "I'm not asking for charity," she whispered. "I just had a really bad day. I lost my wallet somewhere between the bus stop and the daycare, and..." Her voice broke. The kind of break that comes after holding pain inside for too long. I slid the items back toward her and whispered, "It's okay. Really." That's when she finally cried, silently, trembling, trying to cover her face. I handed her a bottle of water from behind the counter. She took it like someone who hadn't been offered kindness in a very long time. When she managed to speak again, her voice was barely there. "Thank you. I didn't expect anyone to help. Not today." She told me her name, Maya. She was working 2 jobs since her husband left without warning when their daughter was only 6 months old. Her baby had a fever that night, and she had run out of formula. She walked in the cold for almost an hour because she didn't have money for the bus. And losing her wallet earlier was the final blow in a long line of terrible days. She kept apologizing for crying. I kept telling her she didn't need to. We talked for almost an hour inside the empty shop. She told me about her daughter, her exhaustion, her fears, her silent battles. 4 reasons. I can't explain. She trusted me. Maybe because I listened, maybe because I didn't judge. When she finally left, she whispered, "You helped me today, more than you know. I won't forget this." But she didn't just leave the store, she left a mark on my heart that night. I thought it was the end of our story. I was wrong. 2 weeks later, I fainted at work. Stress, exhaustion, poor diet. I had ignored my own health for too long. When I woke up in the hospital, the first face I saw wasn't my manager or a coworker. It was hers. Maya, holding my medical file, standing beside a doctor. She worked at the hospital part-time as a night shift assistant. She had recognized my name when the patient list came in, and she ran to check on me. "You helped me when I was breaking," she whispered, holding my hand. "Now it's my turn." And she stayed. Through tests, meals, long conversations, Late night laughs, quiet moments, she stayed. That night at the store didn't just save her. It saved me too. Because sometimes, the stranger you help becomes the person who helps you heal. Sometimes, fate hides in the smallest moments, like a tired woman walking into a grocery store at closing time. And sometimes, that moment becomes the beginning of everything.